questions for you all. Millionaire awareness versus living paycheck to paycheck. What is the difference?
Millionaire awareness, millionaire mindset. What's the difference between living paycheck to paycheck and not?
Well, when you live paycheck to paycheck, there's an expectation that you're going to get paid by that time, right? There's the expectation of, well, after I do X amount of work or I do X amount of things, I'm getting paid, right? The thing is, though, the question would be, would you still get paid if you didn't do those things, right? Like, if you didn't go to work, would you still get paid, right? And the answer is no, right? Unless for some reason there's some kind of workman's comp that took place. You got injured on the job or whatever, but no, okay? And so that means that the life that you live is the money that you make is directly proportionate to the amount of time that you invest in the job that you're paid for. That's living paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm. That's the awareness of those people.
That's the awareness of living paycheck to paycheck. Okay. Sometimes, and let's say even this person isn't working at, a job or whatever, but even if they start a business, they can still have this mindset of working and living paycheck to paycheck because they're like, well, I can't do anything unless I get paid, right? Like, I can't, I can't go out and have fun, and I can't do blah 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 unless I get paid, right? Then I can take a little bit of an allocation of what I got. I can then take it for myself, and then
use it for something fun.
And then go back onto the grind.
Yeah.
Right. So there are business owners, even successful ones, that still operate under this premise. Okay. So now what the difference between a millionaire mindset is, well, I also want to point out that even millionaires think like this. Okay. There are millionaires that live paycheck to paycheck. Okay. People don't want to hear that. They think that being a millionaire, they don't do that. Oh no, they don't live paycheck to paycheck. There are definitely millionaires that live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, having this money solves all your problems. So therefore, wealthy people have no problems.
Right, but that's nonsense.
That's
okay,
not true.
It's nonsense. Even not all millionaires, mind you, just like not all business owners that aren't millionaires live paycheck to paycheck. Right, they don't necessarily either. But not all of them. But I know quite a few millionaires that live paycheck to paycheck. They get their money comes in, they allocate the money to doing that little fun thing, and then they're back on the grind, on the hustle, on the whatever, to make sure to maintain things. And that's actually the not live. So there's the living paycheck to paycheck mindset, which is maintenance. Okay. The not living paycheck to paycheck is abundance. You know it's covered, you're not worried, and you just live your life and then let things go as they go, right? So this isn't so much about millionaire versus paycheck to paycheck. It's about paycheck to paycheck versus not paycheck to paycheck, okay? If you're not paycheck to paycheck, but you know everything's good, you're in a space of abundance because you know you'll get paid or you'll be offered some type of thing or whatever. You know that would be the case, right? So when you were living paycheck to paycheck, on the other hand, you don't know that. And you are doing everything you can to maintain it.
You don't know that. You think you know that you're fucked if you don't keep working and you don't have your job. But that's not true either.
No, it's not true.
You're not fucked if you don't have your job. You're fine.
Right.
You just convinced yourself that you're not.
Right. So now, granted, if someone, let's say, has a family, I can see their perspective. Like, okay, I have a family. I can't just up and leave my job. Okay, let's have that discourse,
sure.
Right? So let's say that you did have a family and that was the situation you were in. Well, you may not realize this, but you are actually sacrificing yourself to your family. Okay? So let me explain. Okay? So let's say you live paycheck to paycheck and you go to work every single day. You come home and then you're tired, right? And then you're like, well, this is what I have to do in order for my family to thrive. But you're the one suffering. So your family, they're missing out on having you because you've decided that becoming a slave to the work was within their best interest. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you are sacrificing yourself to your family. And your family doesn't necessarily want that, right? Like if you go to any kid and they look at their parent, they don't care that their parent is working 20, 30, 40, 50 hours a week. They care about the time they get to spend with their parent, right? And you can say, and I even went through this. My dad would say this to me, "Oh, you'll understand when you get older." Look, I'm almost 40 and I still don't understand. Okay? Like
You're not old enough.
I'm not old enough. Maybe I need to be dust. Maybe yeah, just to, become one with the wind. And then
Then you'll get it.
Then I'll understand. I still don't get it. Right? I still don't get it. So, but that was something I would be told a lot. And kids get told, "Oh, you understand when you get older." Then the kids end up repeating that behavior. So then they end up sacrificing themselves because they saw you do it, right? And they're like, "Well, this is what my dad said or my mom said, so this is what I have to do." But you can break that cycle by just becoming aware. Wait a second, that is what I'm doing, right? And like those years that they're young, you don't get those back, right? You don't get those back. And this is where it's like, how much are you really willing to sacrifice yourself to maintain some image of your family's doing okay? Why can't your family be way more than okay? Like, why can't your family be thriving? Everyone coming together, working together to build something that all of you can, experience and grow from, and et cetera, et cetera. Like, why can't that be the case? Right? It's so that's the difference between abundance where you're like, everything's good. We're just going to work together. We're going to do what we like to do. We enjoy it, to living the paycheck to paycheck where you're just looking to maintain this idea of a life that you have.
Woof. Next question.
Is getting rich overnight a thing?
Yeah, the idea exists because it is a thing.
Yeah.
People have a lot of funny ideas about what's possible for them and what's not possible for them. So if you go about your life being like, "Oh, I can't just get rich overnight," you definitely won't. Now, there's tons of different ways it can happen. And there's also tons of different ways that people experience making more money than they've ever made in a very short or condensed amount of time. Does that still count as overnight? Like, what are we talking about here? What does getting rich overnight even mean?
Yeah. Like, you just go to bed and then wake up, "Oh, I'm rich." Like, at which point
that's happened before.
Well, yeah, that has absolutely happened before. But even then, at which point is someone rich? Like, because in a lot of cases, we'll use the generalized understanding of rich, which means the person has excess, what would be considered to the masses excess capital, money, whatever.
Excess capital.
Right. Money, whatever.
Sure.
Right. So let's say that someone went to bed and they had absolutely no money in their bank account. Next thing they wake up, they have $2 million in their account.
Rich overnight.
Rich overnight.
Yeah.
Would that really be rich overnight? Because I know people when they look at $2 million and it's like, what the fuck is that?
That's not rich.
That's not rich.
Yeah.
Right? Now, to someone who hasn't had that kind of money before, that's like, what the fuck, dude? Right? But to someone who's had that money and they basically shit that, just,
I knew you were going to say
they basically just do that.
Yeah. It's like, okay, great. I literally get transactions like that overnight.
Right. Overnight. So how do you define that?
Right.
Right? How do you define that? To me, like, for example, me, $2 million is nothing. Right? Like, to someone else, that may be like, but to me, that's nothing. Like, okay, sure. Great. No, for you, it's awesome. I'm glad you got there. Now, when you're ready to go further, let me know. Right?
10K. Someone gets a 10K
deposit
in their account. They're like, "I'm fucking rich."
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, someone even doing that with 10K. And granted, for them, awesome. Great. I'm glad they had that experience because now it's like, all right, now let's go to the next stage. Right?
Yes.
So I'm glad they had that experience. But there are people out there where rich, they go, "Oh, if you're not sitting with 100K in the bank, you're nothing." Like 100K, 100 million in the bank, right? It's just arbitrary. Yeah. If you got 100K in the bank and it's disposable, okay, then cool. But then there's people who are like on 100 million, or like, "Oh, you don't have $1 billion?" Right?
Yeah,
right. And again, it may not seem like that is even possible, but look at it here. If you're at a space, right, where you're looking at like $5,000 is a lot of money, there must also be someone that looks at that like it's nothing, right? That must be. And it's the same thing for every number, right? For every number, like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Like, go tell Warren Buffett, for example, you made $1 million. He'd be like,
Great.
you know, and then whatever. A guy's worth billions. I came in with $1 million. Like, all right.
The other funny thing about this question is we've both experienced having our financial experience completely change in a very short amount of time. So how long is overnight? Is it literally overnight? Is it over the course of like 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months?
Right.
If you go from no money to having money in 2 months, did you get rich overnight? Some people might say yes.
Yeah. So I don't know what someone defines as overnight. You know, like I know that there are like overnight sensations, like people who get famous really quickly and this, that, and other, but they're not necessarily rich. They're just now they're known by a bunch of people, right? And that's it. So I don't know what that means. But if we were to use my definition of overnight, which in this case would just be, you know, you all of a sudden woke up and, you know, money. I wouldn't use money as a measurement for wealth anyway, right? Like, because even if you did manage to make millions overnight, what does that say about your energy expenditure or your time, right? What does that say for that? Because it's really those things that you have to own. It's not the money. It's your energy and time, because let's say you get the $2 million, but you're still in the same bullshit you were on before you had it. That $2 million, that money's gone, right?
Goodbye.
Yeah, you know, 6 months, that shit's gone. And you'd be like, well, how can I spend $2 million in 6 months? You can do it in way less time.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's generous.
Yeah, that's me being nice. Okay, you can run out very fast. Yeah. So it's about how, to me, if someone was like, well, I get rich overnight or become wealthy overnight, if you're talking monetarily, yeah, that can happen. The question is, are you yourself someone that can see that wealth is beyond the money, right? Can you see that? Because money sure does come apart with that, but there's also, you know, the time, energy, and time. Yeah, that's another topic. So
nice.
What is your experience learning from people who are where you want to be?
Have you ever learned from someone who was where you wanted to be? Interesting.
No. In fact, I learned the opposite. I learned from people where I didn't want to be anywhere near what they were doing. Okay? Like, it sounds like, what?
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that? But see, the thing is, for me, and this was a really important thing for me to learn from people like that, because I wanted to learn what not to do. Right? So it's not so much of like what to do. I wanted to learn from people who for example, one of the people I learned from was a very wealthy guy. He had he had all the stuff that wealthy people or wealthy person that the image of would have. Tons of cars, you know, big parties, blah, blah, blah. He had all that stuff.
Talk about Peter?
Yeah. He had all that stuff. I didn't want any of that shit. Like, I didn't want any of it. Like, none of it. And just being around it was enough for me, right? And I learned from him. I learned all the stuff I didn't want in my life, right? And that has carried over. That was now 14, 15 years ago. This is carried over to today, right? Where all that stuff I don't want in my life. I'm not interested in any of that. You know, I have never been interested in any of that. So for me, I wanted to learn from someone that represented exactly what I didn't want, you know, and that has been helpful for me. A lot of people, you know, when I tell people that, they don't understand. I don't blame you for not understanding, because it seems counterintuitive.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And I could say why, and it's because I've come through experience to know that what someone else has for their life is not for me. That's not what I want.
Right.
Because my life is unique to me, and what I want is not something that I'm going to be able to achieve by doing exactly what somebody else did. But people will ask the question on social media all the time, well, what is it like learning from someone who is where you want to be? Where do you want to be?
Yeah.
Most people cannot answer that question.
Yeah.
They just look at someone who has money and they're like, oh, I want to be where they are. Do you though?
You don't know what they got going on.
You do not know what they have going on.
Like, and the thing is, and people, I encounter people who think that they assume this truth that, oh, they must just got it all made and everything's all figured out and this and other.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. I guarantee you they are more lost than you are. Okay? I guarantee it. They just embrace the fact that they're lost, right? Like they are way more lost than you. See, the thing is, like, I've been told this some time ago, and I have found that it is true. Like, all the smartest people are the ones who are usually the broke ones, right?
Yeah.
And I have seen that, like, people pride themselves on their intelligence, but they don't have no money.
Can't make a fucking dime.
They can't make a dime. So they're very good at theory, but they're not very good at practice, right? And I have seen a lot of that in my life, right? I've seen so much of it. So, like, but then you get the person who seems like they wouldn't be the person that would have that kind of bread, yet all of a sudden they do, right? You look at them and like, how the fuck did they do it? You know, like, nobody even likes them. Yeah, clearly that's not the case, right? It's you who don't like them. It has nothing to do. You don't know what's going on in the rest of their life. You know?
I love how much you love talking about this and you can talk about it.
Yeah.
I just appreciate that about you.
All right.
Next question.
What options does someone have when they don't want to do the same financial behaviors as their parents?
Unlimited
options. Yeah. And the thing is, and you know what? I love this question. There's I don't know where this idea comes from, but I have heard it many times that there's like the whole family lineage and legacy and carry on the family name and shit like that.
Very important.
It's very important, right? It is like lineage, you know, it would be I guess a simpler word to use.
I guess.
But the thing is, if your parents aren't in the position that you would wish for yourself, why would you copy them? Right? So let's say that you want to be someone that's wealthy, but your parents aren't necessarily that.
Oh my God.
Right? Like, why would you follow what your parents are telling you? Like, it's not that your parents' word has no value. In fact, it has great value to the point in which they got to. But when it comes to things that are beyond that,
learning what not to do.
When it comes to things beyond that, your parents can't tell you, right? So, like, everything that your parent has told you up until this point has gotten your parents to where they are. Okay, and if you follow in those footsteps, you'll get to where they are, right? You'll do that. I don't know when you'll get there, but you'll get to where they are. But your parents can't tell you anything beyond that because that's as far as they got. Okay? So I know nowadays this isn't so much a thing, but long ago, before there was Google Maps, you had to actually use the map, right? You had to go to 7-Eleven or the corner store and you had to get a map of like a region so that you could drive, right? And maybe you get lost in the map. So then you go to a gas station or someone to ask, hey, I don't know where the fuck I'm at. So, hey, can you direct me? Can you tell me how to get to this route? I don't know where I am. Can you help me identify where I am on this map? Okay. Then they go, yeah, you're here. You want to get here. So how you get here is you go out here, you go to take a right, this, and other. Great. Now they can tell you how to get there. Someone who's never did that route can't tell you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They can't tell you. It's the same with your parents.
But they might pretend they could tell you. They might be like, oh yeah, you know, you want to make all this money. Here's what you got to do. You got to invest stocks and fucking get a 401k. Okay,
yeah.
Great.
You know what's funny? Actually, this happened back last July.
Oh boy.
Me and Mandy were outside and this guy was talking to this other guy about how to get rich. And
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was when the restaurant guy.
Chop. Yeah. This guy was sitting there telling the other guy how to get rich. And I happened to overhear this because we were outside. And I said, you know what? Watch this. I just went up to the guy and asked him, I said, do you do any of those things? And he just, well, no, not me, but this is what people who I know have done. I said, do you know they've done that? You just said, you're telling us all kinds of stuff.
He's not talking to you at all.
Well, actually, he was.
Well,
because
before
he was,
that, he wasn't.
No, he was, because he was speaking, like, looking directly at me as he's talking and this and other. Like, I at first wasn't, like, I didn't know I was being talked to until he starts looking at me while he's talking.
Oh, so he's just like,
and he's
preaching.
telling me, yeah, he's preaching this.
To the world.
So that's why I asked if he does any of this stuff. Because otherwise I would have just left it alone.
He opened himself up.
Yeah, but I'm like, you're talking to me, so I'm going to respond. And I just asked if he was doing any of that. It was just simple. It's a simple question.
Crickets.
In nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Right? So I was just like, it goes to your point. That does happen quite a bit. People say things that.
Yeah. Well, you can learn from people who have done it, who have achieved a certain amount of income or wealth or whatever. And you can also learn what not to do from a lot of different people, no matter where they are in life. But yeah, there's unlimited options.
Yeah.
There's so many different things you can do. So many different perspectives. Nobody has the correct perspective. You get
for real.
You get to decide what works for you, what you like to do, and move forward with those things and discover your own path to the life that you would like to be living, even if you don't know what that looks like right now. Your parents do not have the last say in how that works.
What's the importance of having a mentor?
Perspective, awareness.
I'd say time travel.
Time travel, that's a good one.
Yeah. Because when you have a mentor, they save you so much time. Like, yeah, they save you so much time. Like, all those other things, great. For me, time travel. Like, I get a mentor, I'm absorbing 50, 60, 70 years of their experience. And
70 years? That's old as fuck.
Yeah, but of experience in, however much time. Or even if it's even if it's someone it's like less than that, like, it doesn't have to be 40, 50, 60 years. It could just be 10 years or 5 years. But that time really, it matters,
Yeah. You don't have to make the same mistakes they did, because they can be like, don't do that.
Yeah, they can point.
Save you time.
They can point at the thing, but don't do that. Don't do that. Do not go over there. Right? And the thing is, and this is another thing about mentors, that the thing is, you have someone who is willing to, like, go the distance with you, right? Someone who's not going to put up with your shit, right? But they'll go the distance with you. They're not going to put up with all your nonsense. They're going to be like, man, shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
They know instantaneously when you're bullshitting. Even when you're pretending you're not. They know. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, it is, they don't even finish that sentence. Just shut the fuck up and come on. Right? Like, they don't put up with that. Right? Every mentor I've ever had, nice, swift, fucking steel-toed boot right up my ass.
Right up.
Right? And it's been like such an amazing thing. I have absorbed so much knowledge from them, not just from them talking, but just being around them. Right? Just like, wow, just paying attention to how they handle things. Wow, that they don't really seem bothered by that at all. That's because they're not. That type of shit doesn't bother them. Right? Or whatever the case is. So it's been, for me, time travel. Like, just skip through all the fucking, oh my God, I wish I didn't have to go through this. Well, you wouldn't have to. You got a mentor. The mentor would be like, you don't want to do that. Now, at the same time, as someone myself now who does participate in the mentor role, I do let people fall on their face at times, because I can tell them how to avoid it moving forward, right? But I do let them fall on their face. Why? Because when they fall on their face, they will remember it, right? It's different if I tell them and then
you just forget.
They forget.
It's in one ear, not the other.
Right. but they'll remember when oh yeah, shit, I remember I got this big ass mark on the side of my face, right?
Oh.
Yeah, they remember.
The most helpful thing I've ever gotten from a mentor is shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Having someone tell you that and they know you're bullshitting and they're sick of hearing it and they're just like, shut the fuck up, is saves time.
Yeah,
Saves so much fucking time. Most people will just be like, oh, I understand. Like, oh, I get it. I see. Yeah, we all go through that.
Another thing. Oh,
no, that's just, it doesn't save you any time when people are agreeing with your own bullshit.
Oh yeah, which actually segues into my next point.
Perfect.
They don't give a fuck about your feelings. Like, they just don't care. Like, I fucking love this. Like, if you're in your shit and they're like, they don't care if you're sitting there bullshitting, crying, sobbing, fucking kicking the door. They don't care. They're going to be like, are you done yet? Get the fuck up and let's go, right? They're not interested in your story. And people who haven't had that experience, or if they get it for the first time, they don't know how to deal with it. They're like, it's something that can be a really tough thing for people who are used to a specific way of being communicated with. Validation and stuff. It's completely different. It's like, you're not getting that. And actually, mentors are so good at completely severing any idea of getting validation. Okay?
Your feelings are not valid.
Yeah, your feelings are not valid. Why the fuck are you doing that? You're choosing to be like this.
Yeah.
Right? And like I said earlier, like, mentors can smell the bullshit. They'd be like,
it smells like shit.
It smells like shit in here. And you may actually think that's sarcasm, but it's not. In fact, and this has been my experience, like, when someone is like really full of it, you can indeed smell it. Okay?
What?
Oh no, I'm not kidding. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. I'm dead serious. When someone is like,
okay, tell us a story.
Of what?
Someone actually smelling like shit?
No. I didn't say they smell like shit. I say you can smell.
You can smell it.
You can smell that they're like, because their scent is off, right? You know, everyone has a unique scent.
What? Wait, have I?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What? Stop.
I'm just serious.
Okay.
Yes, you do.
The way that I.
Yeah. Her in there. It's not about cleanliness.
Hygiene.
It's nothing to do with cleanliness. It's not.
Okay, I want to know what I smell like when I'm not.
The point is,
same.
Again, it's not about cleanliness. It's not that you're not clean. It's not that you're not hygienic. It's not that. It's that, like, it's no different than like someone sweats, right? There's like a scent to sweating, right?
I have heard that when people are afraid, their sweat smells different.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Pheromones.
Yeah, well, I guess you could call it that.
Whatever.
But yeah, your scent is off. It's like, I'm not kidding when I say, oh, you're full of it. You're bullshitting. Yeah, you bullshitting right now. Because you literally can smell it. I'm not kidding. And you may even have picked up on it with people around you, and you just dismissed it.
Didn't know what it was.
You just didn't know what it was, right? You can literally smell it.
I have talked to people who have a very strong smell.
Yeah.
Their breath stinks. Yeah.
Yeah, you get like, you get some people who, even no matter how hygienic they may be, you can still smell it. Again, it's not like it smells bad or that it's like a funky smell or anything like that. It's just that you can literally smell that they're making something up, because it takes energy to do that. It takes energy to do it.
Crazy.
And energy has smell.
Yeah.
Right? It has a smell because you smell things, and
that's
right.
True, yeah.
So it's like, you're literally full of shit. Okay?
Maybe not literally.
And when I call someone out on bullshitting, I am 100% accurate. I am not guessing. I can smell it on you. Okay? Because I can tell that your scent is off.
Am I bullshitting right now?
Not at this moment, no.
Nice.
Okay, but your scent is off. Again, I don't have a specific thing. Just pay attention the next time. Like, when people think I'm joking when I'm not joking. I'm dead serious. I smell it on you.
You got a nose on you.
Yeah. I got like a dog's nose. I'm like, Wait a second. Somebody bullshit.
Somebody's bullshitting.
Somebody bullshitting right now. Right?
Denise, they're like,
But see, she's like, wait. Am I okay?
am I good?
Am I bullshitting right now? Oh, no, I'm good? I smell like me? Okay, cool. No, you still smell like you. It's just, again, it's off, right? But again, it shifts back and forth, too, because it's like, all right, are you good? Or are you not? Because it's a scent. I don't care what perfume you wear. I will be able to tell. Okay? I don't care. My nose cuts through all the bullshit. Perfume is bullshit, by the way. So I can smell right through that. Okay? I'm like,
damn. You lying.
You lying. Why you lying?
Okay, next question.
Yeah, it's like you just smell it on. You can literally smell it.
Thanks for letting me know about that.
Sam, how did you end up running your company at 26?
Fate! No, just kidding.
Fate. That's pretty good.
Combination of factors. The number one factor is I don't have a fucking clue. But what happened that I'm recalling from this experience is I felt a lot of fucking feelings. There's a lot of people who spend their 20s partying and traveling and hanging out with their friends and generally distracting themselves from their life. I actually spent 3 years crying every single day. I didn't do anything. I fucking was just staying in my little apartment, going for walks, feeling my feelings, feeling absolutely horrible for I didn't know why, no reason. And then eventually I got to a point where I was like, all right, I have no more tears left to cry. And there was a time I turned 25 and I always had the expectation I'd be rich and famous by 25. And that when that did not happen on my 25th birthday, it was probably the worst day of my life.
I remember that.
I was at rock fucking bottom, broke, like miserable. We were fighting. It was just awful. And then you said to me, you were like, a lot of people I've met, they actually get their shit together when they're around 26.
Yeah.
So that gave me some hope. And when my 26th birthday came around and I still didn't have my shit together, I was like, fuck. But then it was like 2-3 months later, shit changed for me. Because that was when I got to that point of I have no more tears left to cry. And I didn't know I was going to be building a business. I didn't know I'd be writing quantum networking. I didn't know we'd be doing any of this. But I just surrendered to what came up for me. And that was to follow my intuition, which you were teaching me. Because I asked you for help.
Right.
That was super key. If I hadn't asked you for help, this would not be happening.
I can't say that it wouldn't, but it's certainly
was different.
May have been different.
It would be maybe different now, but me asking you for help was me doing something different
for you, right?
Than I was already doing. And that's how I ended up here.
Okay.
What shit did you get together? If that is another question from someone.
What shit did I get together? Myself. To me, not having your shit together is like just running with every single thought and every single idea that pops into your awareness. So every idea of you're not good enough, every idea of I suck at this, every idea of, oh, it's just not for me. When you don't have your shit together, you take those things as truth and you just build on them. And then you find yourself sitting there like, why is nothing working out for me? It's because you don't have your shit together enough to be like, wait, where am I getting this? Why am I believing this? Right. What the fuck am I talking about? I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm making this shit up. So getting your shit together is really just becoming aware of what you're actually buying into and then deciding not to buy into the same shit.
Nice. Mm-hmm. What's your take on quiet luxury and being humble?
If that's your boat, then float in it, I guess.
I guess I fit into that category. Right?
Quiet luxury?
Yeah, because I'm not into like flashy stuff and I don't care about like, Rolexes and.
Right. Well, here's a question for you. Do you feel like you live a luxurious life?
Well, no, in terms of I don't know how you define luxury.
How do you define it?
Just being able to do whatever the fuck I want to do. So,
So
by
you,
that
yes,
term, I mean yes,
you
yes.
live a very luxurious
Yeah,
life.
like I just do whatever the fuck I want. If I feel
Yeah.
like going to a different planet, I'll just go.
It's like,
right?
bye.
I'm out. To Venus, I go. Right. But that's I guess you could say luxury to me
Mhm.
is just owning all of my time. Right. So I guess you could say that. Right. But and the more generalized way, luxury is referring to like, designer
high
end.
end.
In which case, I don't live like that because I have no interest in it, right? Yeah. Like I've had people like take me out to go look at these things, and I'm like, it's cool if you like it, and I don't give a fuck about any of this shit.
Did you enjoy that dinner I did with you when we went to Christopher's?
The what?
When I took you to that prefix restaurant and we sat there for like 3 hours and had food served to us.
Oh, that was
fun.
That's fun.
That was cool.
Like, I'm fine with doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Every so often.
I could not do it.
I wouldn't want to do that all the time. No way.
No.
But that aside, I would fit more so into I don't have any interest in like flashy things. I don't want big fancy car, and I don't want a big house. I'm way too lazy for that. So like I wouldn't want any of that stuff. But on the other end of it, the humility part, it's funny because I was just actually talking about that in a class that I did a week ago about the humility thing. Mm-hmm. And to me, all humility is being able to see that you're able to learn more and that you're able to grow further. That's all humility is to me. It's not a matter of belittling yourself and make yourself smaller than everyone else. Being modest or anything like that. So someone who decides that, they don't want to indulge in that lifestyle of flashiness and this and other, they may connect with people who don't live that life, right? But I also want to point something out. Someone's public face may not be their private one, right? And like just because in public they act with this humility, whatever, doesn't mean like in private they're not sitting there in like some big mansion or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like someone's public face may not be their private one. And so you may have this image like, oh my God, this person just lived this luxurious life. On the other side of that, someone's public face of being able to go and do all those extravagant things, they may not actually be able to do all that. And you're just getting the clips that they're showing of the things they were able to do. Right. Mm-hmm. And then they just made it look really good for the camera. And then so you're buying into the story that they lived this amazing life when they could be homeless, like, and living out of their car. Like it can happen. Like one of the influencers I met, this would have been like 4 years ago. One of the influencers I met that had this massive YouTube following was living out of his car and wasn't making any money. Okay. But on his YouTube, he's doing all these things. But that's the way that he made it look. That he was doing all these things, but he had no money.
It's an illusion.
It is an illusion. Mm-hmm. So you really want to get out of buying into what someone is telling you or even showing you and get into what you are feeling from something. Because when you get into that, how you are feeling from what is being said to you, I even say this a lot in my classes. I'll say, don't pay attention to the words I use. Pay attention to how you feel when I say them. Yeah. So apply that here, right? Like when you pay attention to how you feel about that, you may get a completely different understanding of what's going on than what you would if you were just paying attention with your eyes and with your ears. Yeah. So, yeah, like as far as the humility thing goes, just because someone can play the role of being a humble person doesn't mean that they are, right? Doesn't mean that they are. Like me, I don't bother acting like I'm a humble person because I'm not, right? But I also am a person who knows that there is a way further for me to go and that I have so much to learn.
The other thing is I would not describe you as humble, but people love you. People come to you all the time for help and you help them freely. Not being humble is not a bad thing.
Well, it's not. Idea. I don't think humility has anything to do with that. That being the case, yes, people do that. But I don't think humility has anything to do with that. That is just who I am, right? Yeah, I help people. I like, hey, what are you doing? Like, I just help people, right? And a lot of my help, I don't ask for anything in return for the help, right? I just help. Like, here, whatever.
You don't need humility to be that kind of person.
No,
It's not
you
a
don't.
part of it.
No, you don't. Now, you could call it humility, but it's not something that I don't call it that. I just call it being myself. You know, it's just part of who I am.
Yeah. Just be yourself.
No.
Who cares if the fucking internet's like, oh, quiet luxury? Do you like that? Do you feel anything about it? Or do you just think that's what you should do?
And how many terms did people have to come up with in order for identification purposes?
A lot.
Like, this is just another one of those, okay, well, I can feel more connected to this person, which is bullshitting yourself, but I can feel more connected to this person because they're someone who's wealthy, but they don't flaunt their money. You know, like,
oh my God.
And I've seen a lot of that over the years.
It reminds me of something I saw on Instagram recently.
Which is?
Someone was like, it was a story about, there was this big auction for this diamond and it was sold for some $4 million or something. And someone commented, imagine how much good could have been paid for with $4 million instead of a fucking diamond. But the auction itself was for a charity. So the money literally went to a charity. But they just were making a bunch of shit up in their head about what the money was going toward.
But let's go even further into that, right? Who are you to tell someone what they should be doing with their money?
Nobody.
Like
you ain't
for
shit.
example, you come and tell me what to do with my money, and
here's the door.
You see that door?
Leave.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, like, who are you to tell us? But alternatively, I wouldn't tell you what to do with yours, right? I would say, yo, you should buy this. Like, why the fuck would I tell you that? I don't give a fuck what you buy. It's your business, right? What someone decides to do with their money is their business, right? What they decide to spend their energy on is their business. No one, me, you, someone else, has any right to tell someone what they should and shouldn't be doing with their stuff. And I do find it interesting that people who say things like, imagine all this good, are also the ones who are entitled to other people's money, right? It's interesting. It's like, for you to say something like that, oh, look at all this good that could have been done. Well, why don't you get $4 million? And then why don't you do that?
Yeah.
Right? And then, of course, when you say that, what do they say?
Well, I'm just not lucky enough.
Well, yeah, I'm not that kind of person. You could do that with $1 and you still wouldn't be willing to do it.
You still wouldn't do it.
Right? And you still wouldn't be willing to do it. It has nothing to do with the amount. It has everything to do with who you are.
I think this leads perfectly into our next question.
Wealth versus hustling. How are they related?
Oh, that's not the next question I thought was coming. Let's skip that one and jump to the one about what millionaires don't spend their time on, energy on.
Yeah. What do millionaires not waste energy on?
Other people's problems.
Other people's problems. Labeling shit like quiet luxury.
Yeah.
Fucking loud humility or whatever.
Loud humility. That's really good.
Oh my God.
Loud humility.
I'm a really good person. I'm really kind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I like that. It's really good. Loud humility. You know,
Tough.
Quiet luxury and loud humility. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that other people's problems, and by other people's problems, I'm not saying that they don't help people. By other people's problems, I mean they don't put themselves in those people's problems. So maybe you're maybe not accustomed, but aware of this situation that comes up where a friend of yours gets into a bind and they want your help and they want you to get in so that you can help them out, right? A lot of the wealthy people I know, they don't get into that. They nah, man, it's your business. Okay, I'm willing to listen to you. I hear you out. But that's a stretch.
I'm not going to validate you.
Yeah, I'm not going to validate you.
Shit.
I'm not going to anything, right? So, like, I'm willing to talk to you. I'm willing to hear you out, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. And that's actually something I had to tell many of my friends. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You want an ear? I got you. I'll listen to whatever you have to say. I'm not going to judge what you have to say either, which is why I've been told why people talk to me. So I don't judge them, right? On the flip side of that, if you want me to get involved, that is not happening, because I'm willing to be there for you. I'm willing to lend the ear. I will not directly involve myself in your business. Okay.
What's ironic is that when you were involving yourself in people's problems, you were not a millionaire.
Yes.
So it's like one or the other. Which one do you want to do?
Yeah. Sometimes we get so tangled up in other people's problems that we don't even know what's our problem and theirs. right? Because you get so invested in that thing.
Yeah.
The person's going through a divorce and maybe you want to be there for your friend. You're there for them, but you are giving up so much of your energy and time to that person. So you're not even getting to do what you want to do, and you start feeling resentment or some type of way towards that person in that situation because it's eating up so much of your time, but you can't walk away because of the idea that you may be a bad person if you do. Right? Of course, if people already know that you're not going to involve yourself in their stuff, you never have to worry about people coming to you with that stuff, right? And they already know. They don't bother asking you, hey, can you talk to so-and-so for me? The answer is fucking no, right? I'm not talking to so-and-so for you. Go grow some balls and talk to him yourself, right? Because you're the one with the problem, right?
I'm just a spectator here.
Yeah, you're the one with the problem. I'm not getting involved. Okay. Now, could you argue? Well, you're listening to him, so that means you are involved. That's your perspective.
No.
My perspective is, am I actively getting into that situation? I didn't create it, so I'm not getting in it.
People will watch TV shows about problems and not get involved with the fucking problem.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is.
Although it has occurred many times where people watch something on TV and then all of a sudden that problem has become their own.
This is what kills me about women watching serial killer documentaries, which is a whole nother fucking video. But anyway, yeah, it's like, all these men are so dangerous. Well, maybe you should stop watching videos and movies exclusively about men killing people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you should just not
do that. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, if you didn't want to put yourself in a position where you are afraid, then don't watch that shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, same thing with if you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're losing money, don't offer yourself as a financial resource for other people.
Yeah. Oh my God. I've done this way too many times.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I have a thing where I don't borrow money, I don't loan money, I have no debt at all because I also have no credit at all, right? Everything I do is in cash. I don't want to deal with the credit and all that. I don't want to deal with that. If I go to someone, I'm like, yo, I just want to pay for this in cash, right? I don't want, debit card, and that's it. I don't want to do all this other stuff. It's just too much to keep up with, all right? And so that also means I don't create debt in other ways, meaning I don't loan people money because I never want to have to think about, hey, this person owes me money, I got to go get that money, right? I never want to think about that. I never even want that thought to occur to me in my head, right? So I just don't create those scenarios. Now, if someone were to be like, yo, Dre, I need to make some money, right? You got something for me or something like that? I've been more than willing to do that because then I know I'm getting something from them and I don't have to worry about there being any payback because the deal was already handled at that time. So I'm not worried about, they
owe you something.
They owe me something.
Because they worked for something. They did something.
Well, they did something for me, right?
And you paid them for it.
And I paid them for that. I don't have an issue with that. But I will not just say, here's money, pay it back to me, right? I don't want to ever create a situation for myself or anyone else where there is a debt between us because debts ruin relationships. And debt isn't necessarily just money, right? It's I did this thing for you and you said you were going to do this thing for me, but you didn't do it. It ruins relationships, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to create debt for myself or for anyone else.
Yeah. Another thing that is the last point we'll make, last thing that millionaires don't spend their energy on is people's fucking opinions.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, there's so many other things you could do with your life instead of paying attention to what people think.
Yeah, there are those who have opinions, and then there are those who don't give a fuck about the opinions. Okay? Because they're out doing their thing and meeting the people and this and other. They're living their lives. They don't have time to be worried about other people's opinions.
Not family members, not relatives, not even their friends' opinions.
Yeah.
Definitely not their haters' fucking opinions.
No. So for me, for me, I don't ask people's opinions. I don't go, what do you think of this? I don't fucking
You
care
don't
what
even
you think.
give your opinion.
I don't even do that.
You just don't have
Right.
opinions.
I give my experience, but as far as my opinion goes, you'll never know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, even if I have one, because I will never tell it to you.
Mm-hmm. I would not be where I am on social media and in my business if I cared about people's opinions.
Yeah, for real.
I've even built my audience on getting under people's skin. So of course I can't care about their opinions if I'm going to keep doing that.
No, if you're going to get under people's skin, it's a prerequisite that you stop caring about people's opinions.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. You're in your feelings and I don't care what you have to say about it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep doing this thing.
Because people are they're going to rebuttal. Oh my God, I can't believe you would say something like that and this and another. It's like, no.
I said it.
It's already said. So you may as well just get over that. But then people will be sitting there mad about what you said for days.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I gotta admit, that is some amusing stuff. You say one thing, you know, you go about your business, and it turns out this person was fucking angry with you for months about something you said months ago. It's like, really? You mad about that?
You've been thinking about that for this long?
Yeah, for this long?
Oh my God.
Wow. What were you doing during that time?
Holy shit.
Right?
Mm.
Oh, I didn't really do much of anything.
Yeah, I know. Clearly. Not surprised.
Right.
But anyway, thanks for listening. Thank you for the questions, Deneen. Subscribe to my channel for more updates and comment below what questions you want us to answer relating to millionaires, wealth, phase 2, money, and we might just answer them for you. See you next time.